Today we are going over 16 tips for you to instantly improve in Apex Legends. Wasting no time, hit that like button, let's get right to it. You do not want to sleep on shotguns this season, specifically because of that gold shotgun bolt, but in general, shotguns did have a buff in the close range. If you are near an enemy, you're going to have a much easier time connecting those full hits. There's a couple tips I do want to recommend for that gold bolt, which is going to increase your movement and overall combat effectiveness. The first movement tip is to do reverse sliding with that gold shotgun bolt. You're going to get that trigger to reload that gun, and you are going to be able to fire more rounds on your enemies. Reverse sliding is also great because enemies are generally just not going to expect you to slide backwards, and it's going to allow you to juke them. The second movement tip is, of course, to have edge sliding in your combat arsenal. Basically, as you are breaching or entering a fight, slide off the edges of objects, and you are going to be able to push into there a lot faster than just simply sliding up or running up. My recommended shotgun is definitely the Peacekeeper now, but the Eva is also pretty good. The Mastiff for me is a little bit too much in the middle between that hard-hitting PK, meaning the easier swap to in one tap, and the faster-hitting Eva 8, which is really great at just diving into teams and having that fastest DPS you possibly can in your secondary. So personally, I would stick with the Peacekeeper. Wraith's Portal got a massive buff and double the distance and a big speed boost, which does change a few things and allows us to have even more depth with her ability. For starters, Wraith's Portal now disappears at a 21% of a recharge. Use this to know when it is going to go away. If you are looking to exit Wraith's Portal at the same time as your tactical Q, using that Q right at 40% of your portal energy remaining is the way to go now. However, you may want to use the tactical right off the rip, say at like 80 to 90% of your portal remaining. This way you can have invincibility when you are slower, and then when you come out of that tactical Q, you're actually starting to run faster just naturally with the ability. Wraith has always been a top tier legend, but if you have not used her in a while, absolutely pick her up. She's great. Panic has set in about Horizon. She did get a nerf of that gun accuracy in the lift, but she likewise saw a buff of moving faster up that lift now. Because of this, actually moving on enemies and being aggressive in the lift in a close range combat scenario is kind of improved. A tip for Horizon's lift is that you can super easily change the direction of travel and juke and fly on enemies by placing the lift in front of you and then using it to redirect either left, right, or backwards. If you want to get a boost and a push forward, place the lift right at your feet while you are running forward and you will get that nice little push. Otherwise though, if you still want to assault an enemy while using her lift and shooting it, try to use it when you are closer to buildings and objects so you can't get right up to them without them even realizing. If you are closer to them, you are going to be more likely to hit your shots as well, which means you can still shoot while you are in the lift. It just isn't quite as effective. Don't sleep on Horizon. She's still one of the best legends in the game. If you want to improve right now, which is the theme of this video, you can actually do that. The firing range has been improved and it gives you the tools you need to learn tracking at every range and every level and every type of play. Here's a 3-minute routine you can do to improve literally every day instantly. For 1 minute, set the random bots to have random movement and practice one-magging them with an SMG from, say, 10 to 20 meters away. If you can't connect your shots from this range, move up and then slowly move back as you do improve. For the second minute, do the same but with the moving signs at zipline speed. Zipline speed is a much faster speed than you will really normally have to interact with, so if you can get this down, you're going to be able to beam those enemies with no problem at all. And for that third minute, alternate between shooting all the signs in the distance and the bots to develop snap targeting and tracking on those enemies. If you do this before every play session on every day or literally just a little bit every other day, you will literally notice an improvement as you get warmed up and as you develop muscle memory, and you'll just be way more consistent, which is what you really want in a battle royale. The Skirmisher class perk may be a little weak compared to the others out there, but with a little creativity, you can still make it work pretty well. Since Skirmishers can't see what's in the care package, if you know that it is nothing great, maybe it's a gold helmet and you don't really care for it, you can just leave that package and then bait enemies to the package since you already know what's in there. Also, if you don't know, you can tell what was picked up from the care package if you do look at it after the fact. In tandem with the previous Skirmisher class perk, Pathfinders in the Skirmisher class is literally OP. It might be one of the best combo class abilities and legends in the game. At a minimum, you need to be pinging both of those care packages to get an insta zip and reduce the cooldown of your zips. It takes no effort and it is literally amazing. By the end of a match, you're going to get nearly a 60-second zip line, and it isn't unexpected, and you could actually get a 60-second zip if you do have a gold helmet. If this is not enough, and it might be a bug, but you can have more than 4 zip lines up at once now. If you want to travel across the entire zone instantly, drop a zip line right before you do look at the packages. This will net you another zip line flatline, and you'll be able to use it right after you get to the end of the one you just placed, letting you travel about 400 meters in just a handful of seconds. And if you are looking to take aggressive zipline plays a little bit further, don't be afraid to put that zipline down above enemy teams. You can fly right over them and then drop right onto them if you do get the proper placement, letting you take the fight to them. The Nemesis has entered the game, but which is actually the best assault rifle between that Nemesis, Flatline, and R301? For starters, the max damage per mag when each gun has a level 3 mag is 364 for the R301, 540 for the Flatline, and 544 for the Nemesis. This means both the Flatline and Nemesis have the highest damage per mag and potential, and it will be the best if you want to take on multiple enemies at once. In terms of that ease of use, of course it does go to the R301, so if you are struggling with recoil, definitely use this. But for overall DPS, the R301 has 177 after its nerf, and the Flatline remains at 180. The Nemesis, however, has a DPS of 180 and goes all the way up to 196, depending on whether it is charged up or not. Obviously, range and recoil come into factor as well, but if you want the pure hardest hitting and killing gun, it is the Nemesis right now. Let's talk about the Mozambique. This is not a troll. The Beak is actually a decent to great gun for a singular reason, and it is the range it has. Hammer points are back, which means the Beak has even more damage potential to finish off those enemies who are low health. And if you didn't know, the Beak has the best range out of any of those shotguns out there. The Beak can get a full hit up to 40 meters away, which does mean if you want to play very aggressive with a shotgun and an SMG, or maybe even a close range AR, you'll have the best bet to rip down those enemies who are in health and are outside of that very close PK, SMG, EVA, or Mastiff range, which is kind of like anything beyond 10 to 15 meters. I would not prioritize a Mozambique, but if you find hammer points and a nearby Mozambique early on in a match, give it a serious look at. It's even better when everyone only has gray shields, since it doesn't take much to break them to get those hammer points to activate. If you are wondering what the best class combo that you can use, I do have one recommendation that you should look at. It's going to of course depend on the team and the mode, but I do want to recommend one recon legend, one controller legend, and then a skirmisher legend, say like Pathfinder or Valkyrie. The skirmisher class is not the best, but you can use a controller legend to get ring information, and then a recon legend to ping those survey beacons to see where the players are, and then a super rotational ultimate like a zip line or a Valkyrie ultimate to get that good positioning. This way you're going to know where the enemies are, where the ring is going, so you can get proper placement without having really any risk at all, unless you do want to take those fights. Definitely utilize this in rank to live longer and get higher placement. I do want to do a quick shout out to you, the viewer. Thanks so much for coming back to check out all my videos over the past couple weeks. I took some time off last year. For all of you to come back and show up, it means a lot to me, so just thank you so much. This next tip is a throwback one, but if you are new to Apex Legends and have not experienced Mirage Voyage, this spot is one of the best spots on all maps for loot and potential high kill games. Take advantage of it while it is a thing, because it is going to go away at the end of the season. A few tips for this POI though. For one, use the console on the top center. This activates Mirage's party, and it does spawn 2 purple cargo bots at least for you to get guaranteed purple loot. Second to this is the glowing disco ball in the small room right in front of that panel. This is more than just a cool feature. It is another cargo bot that is full of loot. Wait till it does turn gold, obviously, so you can get gold items. And third, if you are landing here and it is hot, there is floor loot spots with guns. Try to land on the floor loot so you know what you are coming into and you can't pick up a weapon, and you aren't going to be rolling dice by opening a loot pill. SMGs right now are literally insane. There's very few times in Apex's history where they have been as good as they are right now, and that nerf to hip fire on assault rifles makes this even more so. This means you do need to absolutely carry something that is very strong in the close range for your secondary weapon. If you want purely the fastest TTK SMG, it is now the R99 with 212 DPS versus the Car's 202. Additionally, their base mag and damage per level 3 mag is actually pretty much the same, with a couple damage different in either way, so don't worry about this as much. The only reason why you should pick up the Car over the R9 is the added flexibility of any ammo type or mag type. This for me could be a huge thing in ranked, so if you are playing ranked, I would pick this up, but otherwise I wouldn't stress it. The Volt is obviously still great as an all-around SMG, but it's not quite as competitive as it once was. But the Prowler, however, is something that you may want to look at if you are looking to go in solo. The Prowler can do 525 damage per mag with a level 3 mag, which is absolutely crazy. This is nearly 200 damage over the R99 and Car, which means you can kill nearly an entire team of purple Evo shields with the singular magazine if you are hitting all your shots. I wouldn't sleep on the Prowler. Its damage potential is definitely there. As for the Alternator, it sadly is not great in that TTK, but if you want something that is very good off of the drop, the Alternator is actually one of the best weapons because it has a solid base mag and overall is very easy to use. Your drop location in Apex Legends right now matters more than it ever has in the past, and it's always been very important. The new classes in Apex really is why this is so. Blue and red pills should not be slept on, especially the red ones. If you know you're dropping in with an assault legend or a support legend, keep an eye on where these loot pills are going to be. If you know you can land somewhere, get a few guns, get a couple base attachments, and then go hit that red loot pill, the attachments that you will get from it is going to be considered smart loot, which means you're always going to get upgrades, and you can get gold magazines very quickly. Beyond just getting geared up though, both Recon and Controller Legends can still greatly help you pick a drop spot in ranked Apex. If you simply want to just survive more, or if you are dropping with one or both of these classes, try to drop on a spot where you're going to at least get a Recon beacon or a Survey beacon. Specifically though, I will say the Survey beacons are so nice to see who is nearby off your drop, and it's going to better help you understand if you can take a free fight or if you need to be worried about getting third-partied from someone. Overall though, just relay this communication to your team and don't be lazy when you are in the dropship about to drop off. Being informed in Apex and really anything in life is half the battle, so make sure you get full use of this intel and class perks to simply just win more and be better. Not a tip, but more of a PSA is that Wraith's Heirloom got some crazy new animations. Respawn, we need more of this, frankly. If every season had a lot more of these sneaky little cosmetic upgrades like this, or just in general game updates that were cool but maybe unannounced, this would greatly make every update feel way more exciting. I do know that it would get data mined by a lot of players out there, so it might not be as hidden, but if we had more of this, it would absolutely be dope. If you haven't played Wraith in a little bit and you do have that heirloom, check it out. The animations are probably one of the best in the game. Mirage saw a sizable buff this season, and using the decoys to specifically track enemies' locations is huge. And in the opposite sense though, you need to be really careful and try to minimize the amount of time you spend shooting a decoy, if at all. Since the icon stays on enemies or yourself, you can use this information to see where they are moving in a certain direction and then compensate by making a play off of this. If they aren't moving, this is also a win because you can move up and use cover to conceal yourself while you know exactly where they are. In a lot of ways, this is even a more OP scan. The second tip you need to know from Mirage is that after you get a friendly up, the 3 seconds of cloak or invisibility from that revive is huge. If the Mirage is healthy, you can redirect yourself to make a play on an enemy while you are invisible. 3 seconds may sound quick, but 3 seconds, you can go pretty far and you can absolutely flank someone before they even realize what's happening. If you have seen the Nemesis in the wild, you know it's pretty crazy, and I know you have because it's everywhere right now. But what do you really need on the Nemesis to perform well? It can obviously take mag, stock, sights, and barrel stabilizers. With no magazine on that thing, it does 340 damage per mag, which is pretty great. You don't really need a mag on it for it to perform, but if you want to take on 2 enemies at once, a gray mag is definitely needed, I would say. Preferably a blue mag though as well, just so you have a little comfort room. As for the recoil and range, really you don't need a barrel stabilizer that much if you're closer enemies, but I find just getting a level 1 barrel stabilizer on the Nemesis makes a lot of that recoil go away, so I would look out for this if you do want a little bit more consistency at range. As for the optimal range on the Nemesis, I do find that it falters a little bit outside of that like 60 meters, which is probably a little bit further for an assault rifle. If you can get anywhere from like 20 to 40 meters on the Nemesis, you're going to obliterate enemies. You'll be outside of the SMG and shotgun range for the most part, and you're actually going to be doing insane damage. So if you are using the Nemesis, I would try to stick in that 20 to 40 meter range. We're not done yet, but if you are still here, drop smiley down in the comments to let me know that you are a real one. So what are the best legends and weapons that you can use this season? There are a ton of viable stuff out there. So really, if you want to use any legend, it's probably going to be fine. But I would definitely look at Newcastle and Valkyrie. Newcastle really just has the complete kit to support his team, defend them, and even movement or some aggressive play in there with that ultimate. The mobile shield can also be used to semi-do like bubble fighting, which is also pretty aggressive. Valk is Valk. She has all that movement and rotational power, even to this day. If you need someone to really just fly across the map and make high placement easy, Valkyrie is still it for you. As for the best weapons that you could use right now, absolutely the Nemesis is on top. I do expect the Nemesis to get a nerf. If the Nemesis does get a nerf, the flatline I think is going to reign supreme, but I don't think the Nemesis will be nerfed to the point where it's not going to be usable. If you want some close range action, definitely the Peacekeeper and definitely the R99. These are the 2 biggest guns in close range. If you pair both of them together, you're going to decimate people in pubs. But of course, again, much like the Legends, there are many great weapons that you can use, so definitely try them all out. There pretty much is no weapon that you can't do well with. Check out this video right here for the best Legends you can use this season. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, and as always, see you in the next one.